next president has to restore American leadership and our moral authority in the world. You know, I have been privileged to represent you in more than 80 countries as First Lady, as a senator from New York. I've been able to participate in peace processes from the Middle East to Northern Ireland, and particularly was involved in bringing peace to Northern Ireland. And I've been to conflict zones, particularly in the Balkans after Bosnia and Kosovo, and negotiated with governments to open borders so refugees could flow across. And I've been able to stand up for American values, against religious intolerance, and against oppression, and on behalf of women's rights as human rights when I spoke in Beijing. And I believe that the world will breathe a sigh of relief when President Bush leaves office. The world is waiting, and they're waiting for a president again, not who's going to agree with them. We're not going to agree with everybody in the world. We've got to put American interests and American values first. But there's a way of being not in agreement without being disagreeable. You all know that. There's no reason for us to alienate people as we try to build alliances and relationships. I've learned over a long involvement in foreign relations that you cannot be a leader if no one is following you. And right now, nobody's following. So my job will be to reach out to the rest of the world, and I want to start doing that as soon as I'm elected, if I'm so fortunate. And I will ask distinguished Americans of both political parties. We do not need a Democratic or a Republican foreign policy. We need an American foreign policy that stands for American values and American interests. And on my first day, I will ask the Secretary of Defense and the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the security advisors to give me a plan so that I can begin withdrawing our troops within 60 days. To Iraq 3 times. I have met with the leaders of every faction of the Iraqi government. I've met with ordinary citizens, both in Iraq and in the United States. And I have told them what I tell you now. The young men and women who serve in our armed forces have given the Iraqis the greatest gift a human being can give to another, the gift of freedom. That freedom has been offered with the blood and sacrifice of life and limb, with the expenditure of hundreds of billions of your hard-earned dollars. And our young men and women have done everything they were asked to do. They have fulfilled every single mission they were given. But there is no military solution. And I disagree with my good friend, John McCain. He and I went to Iraq together in 2005. We flew into Fallujah together on an attack helicopter after the Marines took it back. I have the highest regard for him, his service to our country, and his patriotism. But he has said it would be fine with him if we left our troops in Iraq for 50 to 100 years. I do not believe that is the right strategy. Because if we leave them there for a year, 10 years, 20 or 50 years, if the Iraqis have not decided to accept that gift, which they have been given, and to start taking responsibility for their country's own future, there isn't any difference that's going to be made. And that means to me, we bring our sons and daughters home and we tell the Iraqis they must take responsibility for the future of their children starting now. At the same time, let us not forget, we were attacked from Afghanistan. That's where the planning was done. That's where the orders were given. And we have not finished the job. I feel particularly strongly about this because I am a senator from New York. I was at Ground Zero on September the 12th. I've spent most of my time in the Senate trying to take care of those who lost loved ones, who were injured, who are still suffering because of what they breathed and were exposed to when those gigantic buildings collapsed. I think every day about what we must do to bring those who killed our fellow Americans to justice. And I will do what it takes to win the war in Afghanistan. And as we bring our troops home, let's take care of them. Let's give them the support, the health care, and compensation they deserve. One of the reasons why I have so much support in the military is because I have worked for years, starting back when I was First Lady. And I began to encounter people when I came to Hattiesburg. I was in Hattiesburg about 12 years ago meeting. I was at the university. I met Osceola McCarthy, that incredible woman who gave that huge grant to the university. And as I traveled around, I met people whose loved ones had served in the first Gulf War who were sick. So I headed up a task force to begin to take care of our veterans. I lobbied hard that we get the resources needed to compensate our Vietnam veterans who were exposed to Agent Orange. I believe that when someone signs up to serve America, America signs up to serve that person. And that is how I will take my responsibility. And I have worked to create much better services for our vets. I want to fully fund the VA. I want to provide emergency urgent assistance to clean out the backlog for disability claims. We've got people waiting years to be told what their disability compensation would be. I want to be sure we take care of our youngest veterans with a new 21st century GI Bill of Rights. Money to go to college, buy a home, start a business. Our veterans who served in World War II. Ronnie, your dad served in World War II, did he? The Battle of the Bulge. We're going to take care of our youngest veterans and our oldest veterans, and I want to pay particular attention to the veterans of my generation who served and fought in Vietnam and did not get the support and the services